Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is an attraction loosely based on the film The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad that was released on October 5th, 1949. The attraction itself would debut on July 17th, 1955, along with the rest of Disneyland, making it a Disneyland original. It was also opened in the Magic Kingdom on Magic Kingdom's opening day. There's early concept art from Disneyland that suggested the attraction would be a roller coaster, but eventually Walt would decide on a dark ride. Bruce Bushman and Claude Coates would design much of the early concept arts for Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, like many of the other Fantasyland attractions that were opened with Disneyland. Bushman's motor vehicle design for the attraction vehicle was always very obvious given Toad's motor mania throughout the story of The Wind in the Willows. Bushman and Coates worked on many other concept arts throughout the attraction, including the mural in front of the attraction and many other gags that you do not see in the attraction today. However, what still remains is the infamous hell scene where you see Mr. Toad go through the works of hell in the end to try and escape. The attraction, at least the insides of it, were mostly assembled off-site at Walt Disney Imagineering Studios. So you can see here they have footage of them building Mr. Toad's attraction car. And original, Mr. Toad's, of course, debuted with the rest of Disneyland on July 17, 1955. You and your motor mania would follow through with Mr. Toad through his wild adventures. Your Toad rage, as it were, would have you barrel through a fireplace and hurtle throughout the English countryside trying to escape from the police. As you go merrily on your way with Mr. Toad, at least in 1955, you'll notice that you don't see him in his own attraction like many of the other characters in their Fantasyland attractions. However, you do still see some of the gags that were there today, such as the butler and the bartender, and you even still go into hell. Well, heck. After terrorizing the town and having many near escapes from the policemen, sheep, and many other things, you would eventually crash through a stop sign, hit a train, and be welcomed to the gates of hell, just as you do today in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Just like today's attraction, you were judged guilty one more time, and you made one more near escape from hell, and your journey with Mr. Toad and his wild ride is complete. Flash forward to the opening of Magic Kingdom on October 1st, 1971. Magic Kingdom's opening day would bring us another version of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Fantasyland. Though it has the same basic model of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Disneyland, it was vastly different in many ways. In fact, you had the opportunity to take two different tracks in the attraction at Magic Kingdom. The tracks, labeled A and B, would both take you on different experiences throughout Toad Hall. Track A would take you through Toad Hall, the trophy room, the kitchen, the gypsy camp, a one-way street, town square, the pub, the keg room, the main room, through the tunnel, and through hell, back out to the entrance. While Track B would take you through Toad Hall, the library, a blackout, a barnyard, another barn, one-way street, town square, through prison, through Sheerland, all the way through a tunnel, and through hell, and back out to the attraction. There's some similarities, but there's also some major differences through both sides. While the escape from hell remained similar on both sides, the prison break was an exciting new feature that wasn't even seen before in Disneyland, as well as the new gypsy camp. Some other new scenes added were another police chase scene and a grand band scene towards the end of the attraction on side A. Minus some attraction updates, the ride would remain unchanged until the late 1990s. Jump ahead to Disneyland Resort in 1983, where Fantasyland is about to get a huge remodel, an overhaul of all of the dark rides, including Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is to be the first huge makeover for the attraction. An exciting new Fantasyland was upon us. No longer was a carnival facade, and new facades would be brought up, just as Walt had originally imagined it. Including the addition of the new Alice in Wonderland attraction, almost everything would be gutted and redone. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride specifically, because the Alice in Wonderland attraction would be going over the top of the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride show building. Mr. Toad would finally get a proper facade for his attraction, his very own Toad Hall, along with his family crest at the front. The mural would be transferred over and the colors would be updated, but it would remain the same. You would get a new town hall scene where you would see Sherlock Holmes in the window. The updated attraction would bring the London Bridge mural, and you would also see Mr. Toad himself in the fountain for the first time. Exciting new changes would come along, as well as new features. However, the ride layout would stay mostly the same. You were being chased by the police through Toad's Motor Mania. You would escape many near-caught chances, but everything was much more lit and things were much more realistic. Sadly, not too far along in the future, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in the Magic Kingdom would close, to be replaced by none other than a dark ride for Winnie the Pooh. However, you can still see Mr. Toad today in the graveyard of the Haunted Mansion in the Magic Kingdom. As a Disneyland original, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride would be honored for the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, with the plaque stating that it was a Disneyland original and an attraction vehicle stated out front that was gold. While waiting in line for Mr. Toad today, pay attention to the statue inside of Toad Hall. Look closely at his eye, and at the bottom of his eye you might see a hidden Mickey. Though Mr. Toad's has remained mostly unchanged since the 1980s, it still remains a Disneyland classic and a favorite. This concludes the history of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Thank you so much for watching our show. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We always love to hear your feedback. Have a magical day.